viewers, you are welcome today. This is Living Television. Abba, you're welcome to this very wonderful episode of My Child and I. Like I usually say, this is a very good program that the Living Television has packaged for you. In this program, it educates and admonishes parents and the teenagers out there. Okay, then today we're going to be discussing something very crucial. The last time we were able to talk about a whole lot of things, but before then, I want to let you know that I'm your host on this very My Child. My name is Adeze Kankam Goswill. Today I have very special and wonderful people here on set with me. From the extreme, I have Maxton Peterson, who is here with me to dig this thing out. You're welcome, sir. Okay, Maxton Peterson is a pastor of Numa Embassy here in Aba at Omo Hill Primary School. Okay, then I have my prof here on set. I know that today you are going to enjoy this program the more because I have Professor Chinedum Adiele with me on set. Professor Chinedum Adiele is a renowned journalist, he's a professor in journalism. He's also a theologian and as well a journalist. And he's worth hearing. So you just stick in there and see what we've got for you. Thank you very much. So today we're going to be dealing with a lot of issues that bothers children, their parents, and all that. Last week we were able to talk about mother abuse. What is it that when we say that a mother is being abused, what is it all about? So we talked about all that, and today we're going to put it together. 2 weeks ago we talked about child abuse. Last week was mother abuse, but today we're going to put it together. We're going to talk about child and mother abuse, and we're going to take some questions and see what they have to contribute to this. I'm just going to start up with Maxton Peterson. I want to ask you, sir. Okay, before I go into that, please, I need you to know that this is a phone-in program. Before I do that, this is a phone-in program. You're permitted to phone us in the course of our discussion. You can phone 09168284-994. Take the number again, 09168284-994. You can just check on the screen and also take the number. Do also follow us on social media platforms. You can go to our Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook page at Living Television. We've got packaged well audio programs that will interest you, that you can listen to them. That is, go to World Radio Garden and search for Living Radio 90.9. Okay, here we go today. I'm just going to throw the first question to Maxton Peterson. And that question will now usher me into other ones. Maxton Peterson, I would like for you to, from what we've been discussing and today, I would like to ask you to differentiate for me. What's the difference between discipline and abuse? Discipline and abuse.
Wow. Discipline and abuse.
Yes.
When you talk about discipline, sometimes we believe discipline is about acting holy. Like this person is acting well. But discipline is all about sticking to the rules of a lifestyle or life pattern. You can be disciplined in music. You can be disciplined in different ways. That when somebody said I'm disciplined, simply means I'm self-controlled to a particular pattern of life.
Okay.
And when you talk about abuse is mismanagement, mistreatment to a person. The way someone is supposed to be treated, you are not doing it the same way it's supposed to be. So the difference is that when somebody said I'm abused, it simply means I'm not treated the way I'm supposed to be treated. So when somebody says I'm disciplined, simply means I am being treated. I am treating people the way they're supposed to be treated.
Okay. Thank you. Prof, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you. It's a great privilege to have you on set today, and I'm delighted about it. Please, Prof, I would like for you to throw in more ideas on what he has just said, the difference between abuse and discipline.
Well, when you say somebody is disciplined, that means the person understands the norms,
Okay.
the rules of the other. That person is cultured in other language. That is to say, he knows his limits in whatever thing he's doing. Just like the pastor said, that is to say that you understand what it means to handle the next person, a fellow being. You also know how to handle them. And then it is quite different when you talk about abuse or something. If you say this person is disciplined, this other person is very abusive, you know, that is, you're saying that this other person who is abusive is very insulting. He has no respect.
Okay.
He has no respect, and he does not appreciate the norms and values of human nature. That is when somebody is abused, because abuse practically is talking about maltreatment. Abuse could come in words, it could be psychological, it could be emotional.
Okay.
They are all abuse. So there are two different things. There are two different things. When a man is disciplined, is cultured, he understands the norms of the society, he behaves himself, he knows his limits. You know, that is, most often I tell my students that maturity is all about knowing your limits. You know, that is when you talk about maturity, is don't know your limits. So when you say somebody is disciplined, that means that person is mature.
Okay.
And then in all ramifications of life. You know, so that is why two of them, they don't go together. You cannot be abusive and be disciplined at the same time.
Wow. Did you just hear that, viewers? Yeah, have you just heard that he said something very striking? You can't be abusive and as well be disciplined at the same time. Both of them are two different things. Both of them are two-way traffic, okay? So I think that is so self-explanatory. And I think I'm very, very comfortable with all these deep explanations and all these deep so I'm just going to run into the next question, but I'm going to throw it to my prof. I know you just finished buttressing that question, but I need you to also start with this second question that I have here. Is it true that mothers abuse their children more than their fathers?
Well, this issue of abuse, I think it has a lot to do with one's environment and upbringing.
Okay.
The environment you are brought up by, you know, we have environmental pollutions and so on. It's just like what I was telling somebody there.
Okay.
There is no how you compare a child that is brought up in Engwa Road where they call a Mamo with a person that is brought up in GROA. There are two different things. There is no how you can also compare a lady that is brought up in a single mother-father home with the one that comes up from a polygamous home.
Yeah.
There are two different things.
Yes, sir.
So when you talk about abuse, it is environmental, most often, you know, how you are brought up. So about the mother abusing a child, it depends on the environment one grows up from. Where you grew up from determines how you behave, how you react to issues. There are a lot of people who are very, very impulsive in their reactions and actions. I remember when I went on a holidays to Hafia, my mother's place. My uncle then, the only son of the elder brother to my mother, you know, that man was so impulsive in his reactions, and he does not give a damn about who you are. At any slightest mistake, he will cause and abuse you. I was almost learning that, seeing it as a child. And any child that grows up in that kind of environment is bound to be very, very abusive in whatever he does. So environment contributes immensely to this. Now, that is also the way it is with women. When a woman is brought up in a home, take for instance, if you are coming from a polygamous home, the only time you see your father and mother, it is in fact very difficult for you to see a father and mother sitting down together, because when you have about 3-4 wives, the only business you have with them is the day they have to sleep with you in the night. That is the way they come in. It is difficult for you to see them sit down, rapport, discuss, play. And the way you react to issues, these children you gave birth to are equally learning it. Most of the things children who are cultured, most of the things they learn, they don't break their brain to insert them. They learn it practically.
By observation.
So some women can be so abusive more than men. It also depends on where the man is coming from. So it all depends on the environment, you know. But I think these days that this digital age and jet age, a lot of people are learning a lot of things through the internet and so on. So I think it's reducing, because I saw one myself when I was growing up, and I knew it has a lot. In fact, 80% environmental. That is when you talk about one being abusive. So it depends on where one is coming from. It can be of the woman, it can be of the man.
Okay, that's very, very interesting and very, very good to know. You've heard it all, that abuse is simply environmental. In fact, he said something very striking. He said 80% environmental. I'll come back to that. So, Marston Peterson, what do you have to also, what's your take on this?
That mothers abuse their children more than their fathers.
Yes.
I don't think it should be compared. Why I said so is because the person abusing the child depends on the person's orientation.
Okay.
So if the woman is abusing the child, simply means the woman was brought up from an abusive home.
Okay.
No, you cannot just say mothers abuse more than fathers, because it's just a personality thing.
Okay.
You can go to a family and it's the father that is abusing, because the father, like our prof said, came from an environment of family where abuse is the order of the day.
Wow.
Now you can't just compare the mother abuse more. No, it's all about upbringing, orientation. When the mother is coming from a place that abuse is the order of the day, she will abuse. Okay. When the father comes from the same place, the father will abuse. It's not a gender thing. It's a thing of orientation.
Okay.
Where you're coming from, how you've been how you've been brought up. Now everything about it lies on personality, not gender.
Okay.
So you must not, even when we compare, it simply means we want to generalize it, which is not good and cannot come out better. We can't generalize it because it's a personality thing. You can go in 5 families and you're finding male abusing.
Okay.
And you can go in 10 families, you see 7 men abusing, 3 men, or go 3 women, and these are the way you get. But you can't just generalize this mother's abuse. Father, no, it's a personality thing. That's why you must be very careful to know where you're coming from and know what to pass on.
Wow. Beautiful. I hope you are enjoying this moment that we are really digging this very deep, because like I'm enjoying it myself. You've heard it all, what the prof said. He said specifically that abuse is environmental. And Marston Peterson also said that you cannot just push it on the women, that it also depends on where the woman is coming from, the orientation or the background of the woman or the background of the, so it's not a gender thing. I think that is what I can grab from what you have just said. Wow, this is very, very interesting to know. Then I want us to take another question very quickly, then before we go on break. There is this general notion about verbal and physical abuse. So this general notion says that verbal abuse is more harmful than physical abuse. You know, it's a general, people just believe that. It is very, very, you understand what I'm asking? So, Prof, what's your take on this? Is it true that verbal abuse is more harmful than physical abuse?
Well, both are harmful. Most often it depends on the individual.
Okay.
There are people who are very emotional. There are others who are not. There are people, no matter what they say, it does not concern them. They will not give a heed to it. But there are people who you utter a little word, it gets deep down so bad, and then they may never forgive you. It hurts. So it all depends on one's, emotional values,
Okay.
So, and also the kind of environment where you are brought up from. But to come to talk about it, when you talk about, physical abuse, I think it is more painful, because you can imagine if you're talking about a home, especially as a father, You know what it means, especially when you talk about this cashless policy and so on. And then even when you are supposed to buy a new cloth, see shoes you can buy, you then buy them simply because you're bringing up a child, you want them to look like others. And then at the end of the day, you see the boy insulting you. Whether it is verbal or physical, it is so painful.
Yes.
At times you want to regret why, you had to invest on such. A lot of men have gone out of their way, those are not just impulsive reactions, have gone out of their way to cost their children because of such attitudes and so on. So at times, I think it is both the physical and the verbal abuse, they are all the same. And none should, especially when it has to do with the family. You have a child, and then your child looking at you, talking back at you, which most of family good homes, women don't even talk back at their husbands. And then you see a child you brought up simply because he has learned the Western education. That is why when we talk about Boko Haram, what are they fighting against? They're fighting against Western education. They said the Western education has contributed in spoiling a lot of things for them. That is why you see, if you look at the tradition, you see a woman will be clothed from head to toe. You don't see any part of her body, and so on. Things like that. So
they keep the women in obscurity.
Yes, so that level of indoctrination has gone so deep in them. So both verbal and physical abuse, they are all so terrible, especially when it concerns a home. There's something you can tolerate outside, a young man can do to you, a young woman can do to you, but when it's not your blood, you ignore it and get away. But when it's our home, because you are talking about my child and I, and when it's our home, especially when it's coming from a child, it's usually very painful.
Yes.
There is a little saying in Igbo parlance that when a child throws his father up, the scrotum of the father will blind him. Wow. That does not mean that the father has a hyena of the scrotum, but it is an adage that depicts what the child will suffer for insulting them. Even the Bible said it. I think that is the only one of the commands that has a promise. Honor thy father and thy mother, so that thy days shall be long. And then when you ignore this and go ahead to insult your parents, in as much as the Bible equally had told, also advised parents not to equally provoke their children. But then, there is a limit to everything. But there are, because of all these weeds, drugs, and so on that are happening these days, peer group and so on, too many things can happen.
Wow.
It's usually very painful.
Wow. Prof has just blown my mind away, just blown me away with all this. There's a particular one that he said in a Igbo adage, and I don't think I'll be able to quote it. And I know that as you're watching, you understood him very, very well. Okay, so you see, that's the difference between when fathers talk. They take it deeper, and you understand it. That is not how you say you don't understand it. So chip something into, I think,
verbal and physical abuse.
Yes.
I'm going to be speaking from my point of orientation.
Okay.
Or knowledge.
All right.
When it comes about physical, verbal, I think from my own point of view, human beings are soulish beings. Natural beings are soulish beings.
Okay.
And apart from that point, verbal contains words.
Yes.
And in the realm of the spirit or life, words don't die.
Okay.
And they have effects even after generations. Now, if we are going to talk about the pain, we're not just going to talk about a body pain. We're talking about a generational pain. Because there's a word you will say that won't come back to you the same way you gave it out.
Okay.
Now, when you said someone is abused verbally, simply means someone was given words that are not supposed to be with him in life.
Okay.
Now, you were abused, like someone telling you won't become anything. This kind of words, there are words that sticks with you.
Yeah.
Now you get to them. When we talk about pain, pain is more deeper than bodily pain. Because it lives forever. There are things that live forever, and they are only gotten by things that don't die, and those things are words. Every man is made up of words. Now, when you say, I am Marston Peterson, if you dissect me into two, you will only get something, all that I've heard.
Okay.
Clean them up, I'm empty.
Yeah.
You see that I'm made up of words. And I'm saying because I've listened to people. And I believe that prof is prof because he listened to people.
Yes.
So that is an impact of words. Clear up the words, he's not a prof.
Wow.
So you see that verbal pain, verbal abuse gets deeper. It's a generational thing. It does not stop here. If a man is cursed, that means the man is verbally abused.
Wow.
So
Okay.
when we talk about the physical pain, it can go, the scar leaves. So you apply things on it, they go off. But the verbal pain can live forever. So when we talk about pain, there are things that are more deeper than bodily pain. Some people will tell you, don't tell me things I will regret even being alive for.
So just a little,
Okay.
a little input there.
All right.
You know why? This is just like a family. You're talking about my child and mine.
Yes.
You know, so my child and I. And then even when you talk about words are things. Just like a philosopher will tell you that thoughts are things. Even the Bible, said it so. As a man thinks, so yes. But it is not every word that makes a meaning. The determinant of the meaning of a word is dependent on the quality and caliber of the person who is saying it. It's just like somebody coming up to lay a curse on you as a pastor, and so you have nothing with him, you've not wronged him in any way, and you want to take it to heart. No, because who is saying it means nothing.
The curse
It just is like you can't compare it with when your father has cursed you.
Yes.
That's
You
where
must do everything.
Okay.
You must do everything to make sure that that curse is vacated.
All right.
Or else it lives with you all through.
Yeah, that's where I was going, because
Okay.
I was not talking about an external. I mean, fathers abuse it and mothers abuse it. It lives forever. It's better you beat them than speaking those words to them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you will live to see it in the next generation.
All right.
You said you are not becoming anything. You will soon grow old and see that child not becoming anything. It's better you beat him.
Even when you need it.
Yes, now to become something.
Okay.
You see, it's better you beat them, physically abuse them, beat them. Now, why I'm not saying we should abuse them physically, because it can be also dangerous. So, but the two, if being compared, physical abuse is not that painful like verbal abuse when it comes to the confines of family.
So it simply means that as parents, you're listening out there, and everyone under the sound of our voice, that it is very important that we don't do either of these, whether it is physical, whether it is verbal, it is an abuse, and it's totally unacceptable. It's not godly, it's not socially acceptable, it's not emotionally, intellectually acceptable, psychologically acceptable. Is not. So that is one of the reasons we're doing this program, so that we can learn some of these things, and also we can learn all these things and also adhere to them. I'll just be going for a short break right at this very moment, and when I'm back, my child and I continues. Please stay tuned and don't go away. You are welcome back to Living Television. This is my child and I, and I've been here with some wonderful people that we've been discussing a lot of issues that bothers children and their parents. In fact, today we are actually talking about mother and child abuse. Like I said before, I have my wonderful and special guests who are already doing this. Phone-in program, and our phone is very open for you to call in now and ask your questions as you're listening to us, because today we are digging it deeper than ever. Call 09168284994 so that we can pick up your questions, and trust me, today whatever thing you ask, the questions, the answers will be given to you. You'll be so fulfilled that we answered it today, because I'm very, very strong-willed that I've got the people who are capable with me here on stage to tell you what you need to know. So that is basically that. But before we pick up the calls as the call, I'm just going to throw in the last question, and we'll be on that, and we'll also pick up our questions. All right. I need to know what negative effect that physical abuse on a child, on a mother, has on a child. When a child discovers that her mother is always being physically abused or verbally abused, any kind of abuse, what effect does it have on that child?
Okay, you are talking about an outsider abusing the mother, or the same child abusing the mother?
No, sir. I'm talking about maybe what a father abuses, a husband abuses, and the child is always seeing.
Well, anytime you find yourself in such a family, whether you're a maid or a child in such a family, automatically, depending on when they start, because there are certain ages, there is what we call the receptive age in every person's life. And that is the time you copy so many things, even those you wouldn't have loved to, copy if you had been an adult.
Yes.
But you can't help it. It is natural. And that is why a lot of people advise people, most marriage counselings will ask you, is your wife from a polygamous home? If she is, then she needs a deeper orientation to pull her out from that bracket of a polygamous lifestyle.
Okay.
It's very, very important, because what a child sees you do on a daily basis is bound to form the basis of his character as he grows up. And some of them will see it as a way of life, and they are bound to apply it as they grow up.
Okay.
So the impact is terrible.
Wow.
The impact is terrible. There is no reasonable man that raises a hand on a woman. No woman is so good, no woman is so perfect, but there are so many ways to do it. If you say you've lived with a woman who came from a different local government, not the same parents, without having a little problem, it's not possible. But as a mature person, what do? When you think, even when your word you are giving as an advice is not taken properly, what do? You take a walk. Take a walk out and come back. A reasonable woman.
And catch some fresh air.
You will take some fresh air, chat with friends, come out, call a friend. I can call Reverend Peterson, and by the time I finish chatting for 5 minutes,
yes,
I'll forget it.
You'll be refreshed.
I'll come back. So, but when you think you have everything to heart, you want to hit, you want to beat, listen, you are also preparing another soldiers who are going to fight their own wives and in their various homes.
Wow.
And it is generic, and you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
You keep passing it on, and it continues to move. There are a lot of people who are from broken homes, but there is nothing stops you from saying, what I saw my father do, I cannot do it.
Yes.
I can't raise a hand on my wife.
Yes.
If we should go by the biblical principles and the biblical typology of marriage, then nobody will raise a hand on a wife, because the woman becomes yours, and you are the woman is you. If you can't hit yourself, why must you want to hit a woman? There are too many ways to do it. It's true there are some women, whose mouth are typewriter. By the time you say one, they've said 20. And it's not, people like me cannot take it. But what do you do when you find yourself in such situations? So at times, it's good also to give a woman orientation. That is why I tell people, I like courtship. Courtship does not necessarily mean going to sleep with a woman before you go to the altar. No. But letting the woman know who you are. Let understand yourselves. I don't believe in what they call instantaneous love at first sight. There is nothing like that. Because any love that is not based on the understanding of who that person is no love at all. But an interim ecstasy, just like sex. That's what it is. So it is important. It has dealt with a lot of women. There is one in the neighborhood. In less than 1 year of marriage, we've separated them 3-4 times. Just newly married. The question becomes, what did you see in her? Because I can't imagine raising a hand on even a girlfriend, talk less of a wife. You are living within the house. And when you do that, the children are copying. They are learning. They see it as a way of life. Even some of them practice it in school. They will say, come, let me show you how daddy used to hit mommy. And you think they are joking. They do it back. And gradually, it is becoming part of them. And when you see such people, anywhere you are discussing, even in an organization, they are always very hostile and antagonistic.
Wow.
Because it's part of them. So that is why it is not advisable at all and should not be encouraged in any home, no matter what it is. It is wrong.
Wow, did you hear all that? Did you hear all that as you are watching and as you're listening?
people that in your old age, your son-in-law will come out and tell you, Daddy, what
How can one,
how can we take care of a verbal abused person?
okay, how can we take care of a verbally abused person? Okay, both you've been talking. So.
Yes, it's very simple. When somebody is verbally abused, for you to note that, that means you understand that it's verbally abused. When somebody is verbally abused, that means his emotions are touched. His or her psychology is touched. And all you need is a soothing word. If you are a good Christian, the word of God is there to console you. The word of God is there to bring you back. Because most people who commit suicide are people whose doors and windows of visions are locked. That's why people commit suicide. And most often, it is a word of mouth also that can lead one to committing suicide.
Yeah.
So, because of that, it is important. That word that is hurting so much, don't you have something to it? Well, that is why when you console yourself with the word of God, what man say you are? Has God said that, confirmed that same word concerning you? That is enough to console people. So, but though most often, when someone is verbally abused, it is not easily noticeable. Because a lot of people may not want to speak out. But if you're able to know that this person, maybe you are the cause for that person, you are the cause for that abuse, then you also know how to go back to say, I am sorry, but the way you're taking this thing was not what I meant, you know. Because in the field of communication, the determinant of effective communication is the person that decodes the message.
All right.
Not you that communicates. So
Okay.
it is important to note that.
Wow. Did you just hear what Prof said? All his
Yes,
explanation. Okay. I hope you're satisfied with that because I think he nailed it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Robert, for calling, and keep watching Living TV and following my channel. And thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you so much, man.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
That one.
Okay. Wow, you've heard it from the horses. You've heard it from the horse's mouth, and it has just been going on and on and on like that. There's something that struck my mind. It said the first teacher of a child is
Parents.
the parent. So this goes a long way to tell you parents out there that before a child will start reacting to whatever thing he learns from outside, there are some that he must have or she must have learned from you. So it's expedient that we know what we do when we have our children around us, and basically that's that. Okay, we were talking about, we're still on that issue, the effect of the child when the child witnesses that the mother is always being abused, whether physically or...
It will change his or her orientation.
Okay.
It will change his or her orientation, because when this child...
Yeah, hello? Sorry there. Hello? Hello, this is Living TV. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Bill.
Okay, so can we have your question? Where are you calling from, please?
Okay, my question is that which of the abuse heals faster? Is it verbal or physical?
Okay, is it physical abuse or verbal abuse? Which one heals faster?
Is it the one that kills faster or the one that heals faster? Okay, well, the physical one, if I am asked, may heal faster.
Yes.
Because it's open, it receives fresh air
and goes away.
and goes away. But that of a verbal abuse is something else. Is something else. You know, and most often the person concerned you may be living with the person without knowing, and you'll be dying silently.
Of course.
So that is why that of the verbal is more dangerous. But most often it depends on individual. Like I said earlier, a lot of people are so emotional. So when you emotionally attach whatever thing that is said to you, it kills and it's dangerous.
Did you just hear that?
Yes, I had
Okay, so conclusively, what he's saying is that the physical abuse heals faster than the verbal abuse. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for calling, darling. Keep watching Living Television and keep following this program. Not only this program, we have lots and lots more here. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
thank you, bye.
Bye. All right. I think there's still some calls that are coming in. Okay, you were saying something, Master, before this, because we're just going to be wrapping it up here. When we pick one or two more calls, then we'll be done.
Okay, it changes their orientation,
Okay.
because it's the way of life. Sometimes you see women, like now, when a father beats the wife,
Okay.
the guys there will always see women as sort of people that contends with power. They will not be free with women. They will always be hostile,
Okay.
aggressive. Like, they don't just smile with women because they know the next thing is you will insult me. So it disposes them a way that they will start looking at things from the wrong perspective. You see that they will not relate with them
Freely.
free-heartedly. You see that they will not always be free with women, because the father says, I don't like you. The thing, as he's beating, he's saying things. And these guys are eating. They are eating because apart from the physical food, words can be eaten too.
Yes. Apart from the physical food,
Words
can be eaten. Wow. I hope as you are watching us, you have really enjoyed this episode today, because a lot has been said here. That abuse is environmental. Abuse is not good to get one abuse, whether physically, whether verbally, and all that. And this other one, that one I'm going to get to you see, I'm going to go for a special lecture for that. I'm not going to do that here. So I think that adage sums it all. It sums it all. And I know that you have really enjoyed what we have discussed today concerning child and mother abuse. I would like to encourage you to stick to Living Television, your darling station, and enjoy so many packages that we have for you here. I want to also encourage you to tune to our radio programs also, and call us anytime if you have your adverts, whatever thing to partner with us. We are forever ready to attend to you. Okay, so that is where I'll be drawing the curtain for today. But before I do that, I would like to say a big thank you to Maxton Peterson, who is one of my guests, the pastor. Maxton Peterson, thank you for coming. Oh, and my toilet to my prof, who joined me on set and made this thing more interesting and more educative.
Let me tell you, respect does not mean cowardice, but a cord can break when the respected does not reciprocate to that respect. Let's respect ourselves and respect our children. They will equally respect us.
Did you hear that? That is the end of the matter. And that is where I'll be putting the last dot, and I sign off today. Thank you. I remain your host on my channel, Adeze Kankam Goswe. See you same time next week, the same time. Bye-bye, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.